Buddhism and the problem of suffering. Is life inherently painful? We often hear suffering and think of intense pain, maybe a broken bone or losing a loved one. But in Buddhism, dukkha, often translated as suffering, goes much deeper. It's not just about those big, obvious moments. It's woven into the very fabric of existence. It is a Pali word. It's like a subtle hum of dissatisfaction beneath the surface of even our happiest moments. The nature of dukkha, beyond simple pain. Dukkha doesn't have a perfect English equivalent. Suffering gets us part of the way, but it's too narrow. Think of dukkha as fundamental unsatisfactoriness, a sense that things are never quite perfect, never complete. It's closer to stress or unsatisfactoriness. The Buddha described three aspects of dukkha. First, dukkha. This is the obvious: physical pain, illness, getting old, losing people we care about. Pain anyone, anywhere, can understand. Imagine stubbing your toe. That sharp, immediate pain is dukkha. Second, viparinama dukkha. This is suffering from change. Everything changes, even good things. Think about a wonderful vacation, a beautiful sunset, or a loving relationship. They're amazing, but they end. And that ending, that change, brings loss, a kind of ache. This is viparinama dukkha, that feeling when you break up with someone. That's a powerful example. Finally, sankhara dukkha. This one is trickiest. It's the subtle underlying unsatisfactoriness of simply existing. It's the feeling that even when things are good, there's still unease, a feeling something is missing. Because we are impermanent, constantly changing, there's fundamental instability. It is basic unsatisfactoriness pervading all forms of existence. It's like a low-level hum of anxiety, even when we're not aware. Have you ever had that feeling, late at night, of existential angst? Questioning, what's it all about? That's a glimpse of sankhara dukkha. Psychologists have a term related to viparinama dukkha: hedonic adaptation. It's the idea that we return to a stable level of happiness, regardless of what happens. We get used to things, good or bad. That new car might make us thrilled for a while, but eventually, it's just a car. That return to baseline, that inability to hold on to lasting happiness, that's viparinama dukkha. So, with this understanding of dukkha's different forms, what did the Buddha teach us? The Buddha's first noble truth is, there is dukkha. He wasn't saying life is only suffering. He was saying that dukkha, in all its forms, is fundamental to human experience. Think of it like a doctor making a diagnosis. A doctor doesn't say, "You're sick," to be negative. They say it to identify the problem, so they can start finding a solution. The Buddha did the same. He acknowledged dukkha, so we could begin to understand it and find a way to deal with it. It's easy to misunderstand this and think Buddhism is pessimistic. But it's not. It's realistic and empowering. Because once we acknowledge the problem, we can start to do something about it. It's not about wallowing. It's about understanding, so we can move beyond. The Buddha taught there are three fundamental characteristics of existence: the tilakkhana, or three marks of existence. These directly contribute to dukkha. First, anicca, impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Our bodies, thoughts, feelings, relationships, the world, it's all in constant flux. Heraclitus said, You can't step in the same river twice. He was talking about anicca. Modern science backs this up. Physics tells us about entropy, the tendency of things to move towards disorder. Biology shows how our cells are constantly replaced. Second, anatta, non-self. This is core in Buddhism and challenging. It means there is no permanent, unchanging, independent self. What we think of as me, our personality, thoughts, feelings, is a collection of changing processes. There's no solid, unchanging I. David Hume had a similar idea with his bundle theory. He argued the self is just a bundle of perceptions, no underlying unity. Neuroscience increasingly shows the self is a construct of the brain, not fixed. Third, dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. Because everything is impermanent, anicca, and there is no permanent self, anatta. All conditioned phenomena are inherently unsatisfactory. There's always instability, a lack of complete fulfillment. These three, anicca, anatta, and dukkha, are interconnected. You can't separate them. Impermanence and the lack of a permanent self lead to unsatisfactoriness. It's like a three-legged stool. Take away one leg, the whole thing falls. They work together. They show that the way we usually see the world, as solid, permanent, and centered around a fixed me, is not accurate, and that inaccurate view is a major source of suffering. The roots of suffering, why we experience dukkha. So we've established that dukkha, this sense of unsatisfactoriness, is a fundamental part of the human experience. But where does it come from? What's causing this underlying unease, this cycle of craving and disappointment? The Buddha, in the Second Noble Truth, pointed directly to the root cause: tanha. Tanha is often translated as craving or attachment. It's that deep-seated desire to hold on to things, to grasp at experiences, to try and make the impermanent permanent. It's not just about wanting things, though. It's much broader than that. The Buddha identified three main types of tanha. First, there's craving for sensual pleasures. This is the desire for pleasant sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. It's the desire for that delicious meal, that beautiful sunset, that feeling of excitement. It's not that these things are bad in themselves, but our craving for them, our attachment to them, is what creates problems. We become dependent on them for our happiness, and when they inevitably change or disappear, we suffer. Then, there's craving for existence, or becoming. This is the desire to be something, to have a solid, permanent identity. It's the desire to be successful, to be loved, to be recognized. It's the drive to create a lasting legacy, to leave our mark on the world. This craving is rooted in the illusion of a separate, permanent self, which, as we discussed, is anatta. And finally, there's craving for non-existence or annihilation. This might seem counterintuitive, but it's actually a very powerful force. It's the desire to escape from unpleasant experiences, to push away pain, to avoid suffering at all costs. It can manifest as a desire to numb ourselves, to escape from reality, or even, in extreme cases, as a desire for self-destruction. This is still a form of attachment. Attachment to the idea of not experiencing something. If we look at how our brains work, we can see a biological basis for tanha. The reward system in our brain, driven by the neurotransmitter dopamine, is designed to make us seek out things that are beneficial for our survival. But this system can easily be hijacked. It can create a cycle of craving, where we're constantly seeking the next hit of dopamine, the next fleeting pleasure, without ever finding lasting satisfaction. This is tanha in action, at a neurological level. And fueling this engine of tanha, driving this cycle of craving and dissatisfaction, are what the Buddha called the three poisons. These are like the mind's toxic fuel. First, lobha, greed or attachment. This is the desire to grasp and hold on to things, to accumulate possessions, experiences, and even identities. It's the I want more mentality. It's never being satisfied with what we have. Second, dosa, hatred or aversion. This is the opposite of greed. It's the desire to push away, to avoid, to reject anything that's unpleasant or threatening. It's anger, resentment, fear, and all the other negative emotions that arise when we don't get what we want, or when we encounter something we don't like. And finally, moha, delusion or ignorance. This is the most fundamental poison. It's the root of the other two. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of reality, a failure to see things as they truly are, impermanent, anicca, and without a separate self, anatta. It's like being in a fog, unable to see clearly. Our minds are often clouded by these poisons. We're constantly reacting to our experiences with greed, hatred, and delusion. And these reactions fuel our craving, tanha. For instance, confirmation bias, a well-known cognitive bias in psychology, shows how we tend to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs and ignore information that contradicts them. This is a form of delusion, a way of reinforcing our inaccurate view of the world. And these internal patterns, these mental habits driven by the three poisons, have consequences. This is where karma comes in. Karma is often misunderstood as fate or predetermination, but it's not. It's the principle of cause and effect, specifically related to intentional action. Every action we take, driven by our intentions, creates a ripple effect. If our intentions are rooted in greed, hatred, and delusion, our actions are likely to create more suffering, both for ourselves and for others. If our intentions are rooted in generosity, kindness, and wisdom, our actions are likely to create more positive outcomes. Beyond suffering, the path to liberation. Dukkha, that pervasive unsatisfactoriness, arises from tanha, craving, and the three poisons. But if suffering is so deeply ingrained in our experience, is it truly possible to escape it? Is there a way out of this cycle? The Buddha, in the Third Noble Truth, answered with a resounding yes. The cessation of dukkha is possible. This cessation is nirvana. Remember, nirvana isn't a place, it's a state of being. The extinguishing of craving and the three poisons. Complete liberation from dukkha. This doesn't mean someone in nirvana never experiences unpleasant sensations. They might still feel pain, sadness, or loss. But they're no longer controlled by them. They experience them with equanimity, without clinging, without aversion. The chain reaction of craving and suffering is broken. It's profound inner peace, freedom from reactivity, and deep contentment. And it's achievable through practice by anyone. So how? How do we move from dukkha to nirvana? The Buddha provided a clear path. The fourth noble truth: the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path isn't commandments. It's a framework for cultivating wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. A set of interconnected skills we can develop, skills to see reality more clearly, act more skillfully, and cultivate a mind free from suffering. The 8 factors aren't sequential. They're interconnected and mutually supportive. They are: right understanding, seeing reality as it is; understanding the Four Noble Truths and the 3 marks of existence. Right thought is about cultivating thoughts of kindness, compassion, non-judgment, and letting go, replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. From there, right speech flows naturally, speaking truthfully, kindly, helpfully, avoiding gossip and harsh words. Right action means acting ethically, avoiding actions that harm. This ethical foundation extends to right livelihood, ensuring our work aligns with our values. Right effort is the conscious cultivation of positive mental states, letting go of negative ones. This all builds to right mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment without judgment, and right concentration, developing focus and clarity through meditation. Interestingly, modern science is validating these ancient practices. Research on mindfulness and meditation shows they can reduce stress, improve emotional regulation, and even change the brain's structure and function, a concept known as neuroplasticity. This isn't just philosophy, it's practical, tangible change. But liberation from dukkha isn't passive. It requires actively engaging with the Eightfold Path, not just understanding it intellectually, but practicing it daily. This involves meditation, such as samatha, or calm, and vipassana, for insight, and bringing mindfulness into everyday activities. It means cultivating metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, connecting with others, and overcoming self-centeredness. And, crucially, it involves ethical conduct, living in accordance with right action and right livelihood, creating a foundation for inner peace. Countless stories demonstrate this transformation. People overcoming addiction, healing trauma, finding peace in chaos, developing genuine joy. These aren't just stories, they're proof. The Buddha's teachings aren't theoretical. They offer a real, attainable path to liberation from dukkha. Answering the question, is life inherently painful? The Buddhist perspective offers a nuanced answer. It's not a stark yes or a dismissive no. It's a yes but, a qualified affirmation followed by a profound possibility. What does the yes really mean? Life, as it's ordinarily experienced, through the lens of craving, aversion, and delusion, is characterized by dukkha. This isn't about denying the existence of joy or happiness. It's about recognizing that even those positive experiences are impermanent, subject to change, and ultimately unable to provide lasting satisfaction. We cling to fleeting pleasures, desperately trying to hold on to them, only to be met with the inevitable pain of their passing. We resist unpleasant experiences, illness, loss, disappointment, pushing them away with all our might, only to find that resistance itself creates more suffering. We strive for a sense of permanent security, a solid, unchanging self, in a world that's constantly in flux, pursuit that's inherently frustrating. This constant cycle of grasping and pushing, fueled by the illusion of a separate self, is the source of our dukkha. This is the yes, the acknowledgement of the pervasive unsatisfactoriness that permeates ordinary human experience. But, and this is where the profound possibility comes in, this is not a statement of inescapable, inherent suffering. It's not a pessimistic pronouncement that life is inherently meaningless or doomed to misery. It's not a judgment. It's an observation. A clear-eyed diagnosis of the human condition. A diagnosis that, crucially, points to the possibility of liberation. The but arises from the understanding that we are not passive victims of dukkha. We are not simply puppets on the strings of our conditioning. We have agency. We have the capacity to choose how we respond to experience, to cultivate wisdom and compassion, and to gradually free ourselves from the grip of tanha and the three poisons. The Eightfold Path isn't just a theoretical construct, a nice idea to ponder. It's a practical roadmap, a set of tools and practices that, when diligently applied, can fundamentally transform our relationship to experience. It's about learning to see things as they truly are, impermanent, interconnected, and without a separate self. It's about cultivating wholesome mental states, acting ethically, and developing the inner resources to navigate life's challenges with grace and equanimity. This path is a lifelong journey, a process of continuous unfolding. It's not a quick fix or a destination to be reached and then forgotten. It's a process of continuous learning, growth, and refinement. There will be times when we stumble, when we fall back into old patterns of craving and aversion. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and even despair. But the path is always there, waiting for us to return to it, to pick ourselves up and continue the journey. The goal isn't to eliminate all discomfort or unpleasantness. That's not only unrealistic, it's also undesirable. Difficulty, challenge, even pain can be powerful catalysts for growth and understanding. The goal is to develop resilience, wisdom, and equanimity, the capacity to meet whatever arises in our experience, pleasant or unpleasant, with open awareness and without being swept away by our habitual reactions. It's about learning to ride the waves of life, to dance with impermanence, rather than fighting against it. So acknowledging dukkha is not about resigning ourselves to a life of suffering. It's the crucial first step towards understanding its causes and finding the way to liberation. It's about embracing the truth of our experience, both the light and the shadow, and using that understanding to cultivate a life of greater peace, freedom, and genuine joy. A joy that's not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within. The question, is life inherently painful? Then, doesn't lead us to despair or nihilism. It leads us to a profound exploration of what it means to be human, a recognition of the challenges we face, and most importantly, the incredible potential for awakening that lies within each and every one of us. It's a journey of self-discovery, a journey of transformation, and a journey that ultimately leads to a deeper, more authentic understanding of ourselves and the world around us. And that is the beauty, the profound wisdom, and the enduring relevance of the Buddha's teachings.